So this incredible adventure started the second I got out of my car on my very first day at Offley Endowed Primary School. Now, I've spent 25 years visiting countless schools all over the world, but I'd never visited one where you hear disco beats pulsing out of every door and window. When I walked into the school hall on that very first day, what I saw blew my mind. The whole school were breaking out their best dance moves, from the little ones in nursery and reception, right up to the class teachers, dinner ladies, caretakers, their head teacher. Everyone was in and no one was holding back. I asked the class to write me some poems that we could later turn into lyrics, and they came up with a wide range of themes, but nearly all of them centered around the idea of moving towards something positive. Now, my first steps into creativity always start with the body and with rhythm. So I started leading a few body percussion patterns, and they'd copy them back, and one by one they'd start leading their own. I asked them if they'd planned the rhythms that they'd made up, and they all said no. They told me that they'd made them up on the spot. The fancy word for this? Improvisation. So we talked a lot about the magic and the mystery of improvisation. I suggested that if they could improvise rhythms, they could probably also improvise a melody. So we tested it with a game I invented called Improv Opera. The rules are simple. They had to make up a story, but they weren't allowed to speak, only sing.
Like Cocoa Pops or
Lucky Charms.
What else would you like to drink? Tell me.
Please may I have some Fanta?
You may certainly have some Fanta. Would you like it with ice?
Yes, please.
Then you shall have it with ice.
I would go to the Great Caribbean.
What would you see?
Coral fish and Captain Jack Sparrow.
They were all incredible. So next we tried improvising using the lyrics that they'd written.
What's next?
Together we shaped all of their ideas into one cohesive melodic line. I suddenly remembered the energy of that disco moment I happened to see that morning, and I wondered whether we could bring that energy into the ballad that we were in the middle of composing. So bit by bit I started to bring up the tempo, and something just clicked, and we all knew fairly quickly that we were on something special. And that was it. We were up on our feet and running.
Cherries for the future. Be all you can be. Look around and move towards the light.
And then we start to come to the end of this incredible journey. And I take all the notes that I scribbled down on scraps of paper and I arrange them into a proper score, which we then send off to the publishers, and then suddenly it's out in the world. And we all suddenly realise it's not the end of the journey. It's actually just the beginning.
Let's keep working together till our dreams come true.
And it's amazing to think back over this journey, back to that small village school where a Year 6 class turned their poems into a lyric, that turned into a melody, that turned into a song that will be sung by over 200,000 children. Now, when I think about the legacy of what we've created, I think those kids are going to walk tall for the rest of their lives.